So I know Formula is a family company. When did you start with the company, and what lessons did you learn early on that have stuck with you ever since?
Well, our family has actually been blessed to own the company for nearly 50 years. We actually go back in the boat business farther than that. Our dad started building boats in 1958, but in 1973 we became associated with Thunderbird Formula, and then we bought the company in 76. So next April we'll celebrate 50 years, and I actually just celebrated 50 years myself of full-time employment, although I have to admit I worked for my dad when I was quite young and probably wasn't supposed to be, but that's the way it was back then. I learned a lot about the business. But no, you learn a lot in this business. It's a fun business. We I'm glad that our dad really focused on quality, because that's what we do. We are really the best boat that there is, and I don't just say that, I know that. Or we focus on that all the time, and I thank my dad for that. That he was always focused on quality. So we're not after building great volume. We'll build 150, 200 boats a year, but we really focus on detail and fit and finish. And when you've been at it for 50 years, you go through a lot of ups and downs in the industry, and you learn a lot about the economy and what's going on, and you learn what it takes to kind of soldier through those things. But even when things are slower than you'd like, we still focus on trying to build the best boat we can, and just keep working on technology and design, just making the boats the best that they are.
So, who buys Formula boats, and how has that changed or stayed consistent over the years?
Well, I would say our clientele have stayed fairly consistent. They're people who, just as we want to build the best quality boat we can, they want to buy the best quality that they can. So we typically are professional people who they might own a business, or they're in a large business, and successful at it. But I think it's stayed fairly consistent, even though the boats have grown up over time. When we bought the company, the largest boat that Formula built was a 26 footer. Today we build a 50 footer. The smallest boat we build is 24. So things have just changed quite a bit. I think the clients, though, have stayed a lot the same. And it's a lot of fun to work with people, to build them a boat of their dreams, that when they really respect the quality is a lot of fun. And we have a program that we do called Flex and Flex My Way, and we have a lot of variability to allow someone to be able to semi-customize their boat, or really kind of put their personality into it. So we do that through graphic designs. There's several for each boat that you can choose from. We have of our stock paint colors, because we Imron all our outside of our boats, where other people are just doing gel coat, and all of our colored paints are actually automotive paint with Imron over it. So very durable, but it allows us flexibility to have really almost no two boats look alike. So it's a lot of fun. It's fun to help people create the boat of their dreams, and to see them out on the production line. And we really love having people come to our factory too. We're in Decatur, Indiana, just south of Fort Wayne. Maybe not the easiest place to get to, but not difficult also. But it's just a lot of fun to have people come and just see all of the craftsmanship that still goes into something like this.
I'll bet. Wow. Um, so, I've seen that most of your boats are crossovers, if not a bow rider or a center console. When did you start using that term, and how do you define it?
A crossover bow rider to us was when we this goes back to in the teens. We wanted to build a larger bow rider, but we didn't like separating the head compartment from the cabin. We wanted those both to be together, and that's when we defined the term crossover, was that it could be a great cabin boat, but it could also be a great day boat, because it's got a bow rider or a forward cockpit, large cockpit in the back, and then just a really nice cabin. But crossover bow riders for us are a cabin that has everything contained in one compartment. So if you want to sleep on the boat, and make it be usable. It's just really easy. And so that's what a crossover is for us. It grew up from, that was our first crossover bow rider, was 35 feet. We grew down to 33, and now we've grown up all the way to 500. We don't call it a CBR, we call it something else, but it's that style. Large,
Gotcha.
large
Yeah.
cabin with everything contained, but great amount of seating for great day boating.
So the new 360 CBR is, well, it's brand new, and it has a new designer. Uh, I know you've had consistency in design for a long time. I'm curious, what's been the reaction to having a new designer sort of lead the program?
Great question. Formula, from the time that we became associated with it, had a brilliant young designer, John Adams, and John designed and evolved the design of the formula over the decades. And we, all good things change at some point in time. And John was, getting to a point where he was starting to think about not designing boats. So we needed to work on a new designer. So we John Adams kind of trained our new designer, Michael Young, and Michael has just done a phenomenal job. He did two projects with John before he took over doing the 360 by himself, and we're very thrilled. And yet we know that we've been very successful with a phrase that John Adams coined, and that is to be evolutionary and not revolutionary. So that is something we've ingrained into Michael, because he's would like to run 150 miles an hour, but you have to watch that things don't get too far ahead of the marketplace. And yet you want to have great talent, because you want them to unleash that and to be able to keep pushing things forward. So very excited. The boat is still a formula when you look at it in styling and graphics, and yet we've evolved some of the styling of dash areas to be able to enhance larger electronics. We have a more effective cabin down below with a stand-up head on the center line, and just some really neat features that by just stretching the boat a foot in length and 6 inches in beam over our very, very successful 350 CBR, we're able to do just a really neat new boat. And so far the reaction's been spectacular. It really has. We've taken several orders for them, so we're very excited about that. We know it's going to continue to be received well.
When I talked to Michael yesterday, I asked him how free a hand he had, and he said that he was leading the project, but he gets a lot of review and input from the whole leadership team, and that's how I assume you maintain that evolutionary, not revolutionary approach.
Yes, the really important thing is to realize that it can't just be a designer. Yes, you need that talent, but you need other people in that team who are involved that are engineers, who know what can be molded, what can be, a lot of people don't think about that, but all these fiberglass parts are molded, and you can do some neat things with them, but they still have to be able to come out of those molds. And sometimes we have take apart molds. It gets that complicated, but the engineering staff help make sure that it can be built. We get even the manufacturing team involved to make sure we can produce it. And then we also have the other people who are just very knowledgeable from a boating perspective to make sure that it is going to really deliver to the consumer what we want it to. So yeah, it's a team effort, and I think that Michael knows that, and he's excited to be part of that team. We also appreciate his design capability and are looking forward to that continual evolution over time.
I seemed excited when I talked to him, even though it was pouring rain. So I just wanted to rewind a little bit. Personally, as a teenager in the early 70s, I used to clean a sporty little formula. And I looked it up in your brochures, and I think it was a 233. And I learned to oil teak on the cabin sole,
Sure.
cockpit sole, and I'm just curious when you're going to bring back the teak deck.
Well, one of the challenges that we had with the teak is that people didn't mind, back then the maintenance aspect of it, but today people are more interested in putting their effort into going out boating. Uh, a lot of the materials that we try to choose now are they look like of old and they look like they might be teak, but they're really more durable. You don't have to do the maintenance on them. I'm not going to say you won't see teak come back. Some people do it in some of their boats, but again, a lot of our clients are just really interested in having someone maintain their boat but not have to go too wild with it. And, it's kind
Evolutionary, like you
it's
said.
evolution. It is amazing the evolution of the materials that we've been able to, incorporate into the boats. And we're always looking at that, and they might look neat too, but we need to make sure they're going to be durable enough to meet our standards. So the teak is beautiful. We actually have a 233 in our display. We have kind of like a vintage boat display back at our showroom in Indiana, and we have a beautiful yellow with tan interior 233 that, I know this is going to sound strange, it was never sold at retail. One of our dealers just kind of held it as a collector thing for a while, and then we bought it back from him. So it was manufactured in 1976, about when the time we bought the company. And so it's kind of just neat to have that around and be able to see. If you want to see the evolution of styling, that's a great way to actually see it from something from the mid 70s till today.
Well, Scott, thanks very much for your time today. Rightboat visitors can learn a lot from you and from the example of Formula.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity.